Welcome to week 5 of the sweetest kind of death, the illusion of wealth as enough. The first night of my father's stroke, my uncle Marcel arrived. He had always been my dad's favorite student, my mentor, and the best hugger that you can imagine. And that night, I really needed a hug. Now, Uncle Marcel had no idea that my dad was going through this stroke. He lived 4 hours away. Imagine, the moment that I needed the hug the most, God sent his messenger to me. And when he arrived, the first thing he did was grab me in a bear hug and give me that hug that I really needed. I was frustrated, standing outside the hospital, looking up in the sky, wondering how many more years of struggle, how many more years of pain do I have to endure just because I was born to be who I was? Arash. Am I a bad person? Am I somebody that is repaying a negative debt? Why me? Why go through all this struggle? And as he arrived and gave me his hug, he reached into his jacket and handed me a gift from my father. He had said to me, Ari, I've held on to this present for you for years. And tonight, you are receiving this. Not from me, but from him. I opened up the box, and in the box was a pen. Go figure. A writer, a philosopher, what does he give to his son? A pen. But on that pen, there was an engravement. And on the engravement it said, life is color is color, death is color. Words that I did not fully understand until much later. And he said something to me that burned into me like fire. He said, the night that your father dies, your career will change. The night that your mother dies, your life will. And at that moment, I didn't want philosophy. I wanted a cure. I wanted to believe that money, work, effort could solve what was in front of me. I had a consulting and investment firm, a new marriage, a new house, a new family structure. I thought independence was the goal, but independence is expensive. And without the right deposits, your financial bank runs dry. Yet sitting in that hospital, I realized that no deposit, no investment, no strategy was going to buy my father's survival. For months, I sat with him. 6 months almost away from my own home, with Asal carrying the patience of the world on her shoulders. She became the caretaker of our new marriage, our new family, while I lived at the hospital, trying to hold on to the man who had raised me. I watched nurses work, tireless, passionate. For them, it wasn't just a job. It was love in motion. And it made me ask myself, what was my money worth if I could not do what their hands, their care, and their presence could? Each night, I would get a chance to see a different group of nurses come together at their respective shift changes and work on the transition of care. Each patient's needs were to be addressed. This is where I began to see a team of people work on their business systems. What you see in business school classrooms is the lessons of teaching teams to work on quality, consistency, and connection. All of these were clearly present at each shift change. The quality of the transition needed to be perfect. Lives were at stake. Imagine working somewhere that each minute of your professional work is tied to keeping a person alive. How much stress does that bring to you? What if the system that you choose to run in your daily routine is so great that these stress tests are not even there? You would then really be in a state of complete control. This is what professionalism can bring to you and your career. Act as if each minute is tied to life and death. And as the months went by, my bank accounts started to shrink. I don't care how much money you have. When you turn off the faucet of income, you start to feel the pressure. So I called my backup, my uncle. I asked him to fly to the OC and be there at the hospital. Be my dad's side and be a crutch that I could lean on. This way I would be able to go back to work, a place where I and others felt the pressure of life released by our efforts. Work hard, make the right decisions, and the money will flow back and lubricate your problems. They don't go away, but it makes it easier. June 1st, 2006 came, and I put the suit back on. I thought I was heading into the office to try and restore the order of my career, but halfway there, I turned the wheel. Fate was waiting for me at the hospital, remembering the words of Uncle Marcel. And that day, the illusion of wealth broke. As I pulled up to Mission Hospital, I parked my car in the lot, just like every other day before. But this time I felt scared, worried that today might be the last day that I get to see those wonderful nurses, the doctors, the new family and friends that I had created in my moment of pain. These 5+ months were tough for a son, but they were great for bonding with people that I would have never met and never understood their true value. The team building, the leadership, and connections would be lost once again. As my need for them would end with the end of life of my father. My father was in pain. The hospital suggested morphine, relief, numbness, escape. He refused. Son, he told me, in life, I've experienced everything. The one thing I have not experienced is death. Don't take that from me. Imagine facing the end of the road, being asked to give yourself a pressure relief. But he chose not to. He chose to stand and be alert. I asked him why. And he gave me a simple answer. He had experienced everything. And the one thing that he did not want me to take that away from him. Best lesson that I learned in life. I stood still, I sang his favorite song to him, which was the Iranian national anthem. And as the words carried through the sterile air, I bid him farewell. And I asked him one final advice. And his advice to me was simple. I asked him, Dad, what should I do in life? And he told me, son, go after love. Love? What do you mean? I just got married. That's not love. Go define what that word means to you. That sentence killed the illusion more powerfully than anything else ever could. And this is where I must turn it towards you. We chase wealth as if it were an armor, as if money alone could protect us from pain, from loss, from mortality. But wealth without love is just numbers in an account. It doesn't hug you. It doesn't sit with you in silence. It doesn't hold your hand when the end comes. Money matters, yes. It builds homes. It feeds families. It fuels dreams. But it's not enough. It wasn't enough for me to save my father. And it will not be enough to save you from the things that matter most. The nurses taught me that. Their care was wealth of another kind. Wealth that never depreciates, never collapses in the market. And my father's refusal of morphine taught me that even death is an experience, one you cannot buy your way out of. So how does love reframe wealth in this way? When we look at leadership through stewardship, leadership is not about accumulating. It's about caring for what you have and who you have. Opportunity through creativity. True opportunity is not buying time, but using time well. A vision that unites. Wealth without love divides. Wealth with love unites families, communities, and generations. Empowerment, which will lead to enrichment. Money empowers. Love enriches. The two are not the same. And only one endures when the bank account is empty. And in the bank of time and trust. Wealth without deposits of love is bankruptcy. Every "I'll be there later" is an overdraft. Every "I love you" followed by action is a deposit that compounds forever. So here is your mirror. Where are you substituting money for love? Where are you pretending that success in the office balances the absence at home? Where are you chasing numbers while neglecting moments? Your family cannot cash a check of absence. Your friends cannot live on your promises. Even in the times of toughness and pressure, trying to pass a $50,000 check back and forth to end your relationship with love, that check will bounce. So here's your kill move. Hopefully you can do it in the 48 hours that's coming. This is your exercise of this week. Step 1, identify one place where you're trying to substitute money for presence. Name it clearly. Step 2, replace it with love, with time, and with attention. Step 3, within this 48 hours, do one act of love that costs you nothing but attention. Dinner at the table, a call, or a holding of a hand. Record it as a deposit in your bank of time and trust, because love is the only currency that death can't erase. And the candle for this week: he who gives with love builds a treasure that no flame can burn. Ciao, till next week.